Danielle Smith, the new Premier of Alberta, essentially says the feds can pass laws. If we don't like it, we're not paying attention to it. Premier Moe in Saskatchewan, essentially the same. And of course, Legault in Quebec, well, we aren't really part of Canada. So what's happening to Canada? Is it going to become a community of communities? Well, I don't know. But Michael Diamond is a smart political strategist, and he understands Canada. And even though he is president of the Conservative Party in Ontario, he's from the West. I know you have many contacts still in the West, so let me ask you, what's going on in the West with those two premiers?
Well, look, I've worked on election campaigns in all three prairie provinces, yes. And attacking the federal government's a good place to be politically. Danielle Smith won her leadership in large part, probably primarily, because of her Sovereignty Act that she was championing in that leadership contest. So it was definitely good politics within the Conservative, United Conservative Party there. Now, it's also going to be good politics in Alberta and the general population. There's a lot of animosity between those provinces dating back for a long time. You look at the rise of the Reform Party and dissatisfaction with Mulroney government. So this is like motherhood and apple pie of conservative politics.
But now they're acting on it more. In other words, Quebec is not talking about separating. They said, well, heck with that. We are just going to behave like we're separate.
They're now talking about acting on it. They're not actually acting on it yet.
No,
so
but
the proof will be in the pudding.
Since she became Premier, though.
And she's, Danielle Smith has a history of saying a lot of things and not acting on them.
She's in media.
She once crossed the floor on a political party she led, which is very atypical. So Danielle Smith, not a typical politician at all. But she'll have to move on this to keep her base happy to some degree. Now, to me, what this seems like is it's an effort by some prairie premiers, and it not without merit. And I understand the local political angles to make asymmetrical federalism more symmetrical, and just acting on
what
the way.
What does that mean?
It would mean being as bold and and moving in your province's interest in the same way that Quebec has for decades.
So is Canada finished?
No.
As a united country?
No, Canada is not finished. I think what this will really require, we see this in the West all the time. The Liberals are in power. The West is dissatisfied. They talk about policy shifts like this. The Liberals get defeated federally. They're replaced by a Conservative government. The West is satisfied again.
But all those times before, it was still part of Canada. You didn't have Saskatchewan saying, we're going to behave like we're our own country. They were still part of Canada. And now it seems to me to be different, especially with the Premier of Alberta. Even Lougheed, during the hated NEP, he says, we're Canadian. There's no question about that. And it seems to me that we may be not breaking apart, but we are sort of being held together by elastic bands.
Until we see more that, look, this country's faced national unity crisis before, and this one certainly.
It's a growth industry.
This one's certainly very real. But I think what we're seeing now is this is more of a communications tool for now than a policy implementation.
Well said. Michael Diamond, a pleasure. 3 minutes. Pierre Poilievre is a game changer. Our politics are changing. We need to look at all the issues and have an analysis of them. If you agree with that, press PayPal, because we need to stay on the air, and also subscribe. Help us stay on the air. Chief producer, he's going to be a father soon. We need the dough.